Hi Capricorn, I'm Chris. Welcome to your November Taroscope. So, wrapping up the year here, right? A lot going on astrologically in in November. We've got Venus coming out of retrograde. We've got Jupiter entering Sagittarius. Mercury going retrograde, right? A lot of activity. And for you guys, I think that what the end of this year is about is really taking stock of where you've been, on what you've accomplished, and like on where you're going. I think for Capricorn right now, there's almost, I get a feeling of like maybe a little loneliness, right? Even if you're in a relationship, even if you are like surrounded by family, there's a feeling for me of Capricorn kind of being surrounded by people, but maybe sometimes feeling alone. And that's what happens when we climb towers, right? We get a better view, we get a stronger perspective, we become more powerful and this, that, and the other thing, but you maybe feel a lack of something. It's like this is MIA song, man-made power stood like a tower, higher, higher, hello. And the higher you go, you feel lower. I'm not saying y'all are all in your feelings. I'm not saying y'all are depressed, right? But I do feel this sort of like feeling of looking at your life and saying, I've worked hard, I've accomplished a lot, I'm in the place I've always wanted to be, but then like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel maybe a little out of sorts? Why do I not feel fully satisfied? And the beautiful thing about what Venus has been doing for you guys, Capricorn, it's been retrograding through Scorpio, where we're getting a look at the things that make us not feel so powerful, the things that make us feel, that the things that don't have meaning in our life coming to bear. And now we have Venus being in Libra in retrograde, and now we're looking at our relationships, and we're looking at our connections, and we're looking at those things that feed us or the ones that don't. And I think right now, you might be feeling the ones that don't. So let's do this, Capricorn. We're going to keep talking, but I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the reading. Start pulling some cards to see where we've been in the month of October, and then take us through the month here, right? So, see what I'm talking about? Ace of Swords, first card coming out. A period of just like victory, of sharpness, of power to me, right? Like up in the mountains in the specific card, right? I was just doing a meditation about Capricorn, and it was all about like climbing the mountains, these snow-capped peaks, right? Kind of being at the height of your game, accomplished, victorious, but maybe with a little edge. Has there maybe been a little anger, a little frustration? Maybe with yourself, but like probably likely with other people. Wanting to lash out a little bit for things that you feel like you're not getting. Whether it's from a job, whether it's from a relationship, whether it's from friends. Like with the Ace of Swords, it has that power and it has that strength, but it's almost the perfect card to embody what I'm talking about, because it's just pure air. It's not grounded in anything. It's not given value yet. It's not given meaning. It's very intellectual. So I think the challenge here, and we'll see what the cards come out, Capricorn, what cards come out, but I think the challenge here is turning that power of the Ace of Swords, where you have this strength, you have this capability, towards accomplishing and achieving the other things that you want in life. Seven of Cups in reverse. There's no confusion here. It's not a matter of not knowing what you want here, right? Very sharply indicating like your mind is maybe clear. But even here, there's still a tinge of sadness, right? Upright, we get lost in delusion, confusion, too many options, right? And here, in reverse, especially next to the Ace of Swords, there is a sense of clarity here, but almost with it, a kind of sorrow, in my opinion. Not quite that, like, what you thought you want wasn't what you wanted, but it was almost like just scratching the surface. And now there's a search for meaning. Now there's a need, Capricorn, to take this power of creation that you have, this force to be reckoned with that you're capable of summoning up within yourself to make anything happen that you want, and turning that towards like your ideals, your dreams, you know, your higher yearnings. If you want to be closer to your spouse, that energy needs to be put towards that. You want to be closer with your family, you feel a little isolated and on your own. That manifesting power, this Ace of Swords power, now has to be directed towards that. And it's not a coincidence, I think, that where my examples are about relationships. We have the Seeker. A time of reflection. A time... Fucking cat. I think she's probably a little annoyed because I closed the door because I can't have interruptions, but so she's just like all over the place. She kind of looks like magical the way the light is hitting her like that. She's glowing, kitty. But the search for meaning here, right? The search for like that thing that's almost a little elusive, that like gnaws at you and pulls you. Something could be like spirituality or passions, right? That intangible thing that calls to you, that like you're looking for right now. So again, a time of reflection, a time to be pensive and really get like real and solid with yourself about what it is that you want, about what's not working for you anymore. And I think Capricorn, once you get that clarity around the things that aren't working for you, particularly the relationships, it's not necessarily that you have to leave those relationships, but then like, you know how they say like admitting you have a problem is the first step? Like there's an acknowledgement that needs to happen here. An acknowledgement of you like not getting your needs on some level met. And that's what the end of this year is going to be, you know, taking stock, figuring out where do we go from here. Now that I'm accomplishing the things that I thought I wanted, what are my new goals? What can I push for? Eight of Wands. And then do you see how fast it starts to happen? It's almost like this spirit, this desire to explore, like kind of lights a fire under your ass. There's an influx here of passion with the Eight of Wands. There's a sense here, I feel like, of a lot of social interaction. I think a lot of communication, Capricorn, with other people. This could be putting your thoughts and ideas and goals into the world, but I think more so what we're talking about here is actual creating and sustaining of bonds with other people. Whether it's superficial, like somebody you just meet at a bar and you have a good talk to, or like, you know, calling your mom up and planning a trip home because you haven't seen her in a while. There's a big emphasis on here on communication. You might even be in touch with somebody long distance, right? I also see a potential here for travel. Not a typical interpretation I would get, but there is this need of like breaking away from the norm for Capricorn, right? There's a need of not necessarily not doing work, but almost a little pleasure seeking. right? And again, not in a way where you're neglecting your duties or your work or you know, but like where, you know what, I knew this was going to come out. I was literally almost just going to talk about the star when I was talking about this. I wish I said these things more. But you know how, like, say for instance, a job becomes more meaningful to you when you can actually use the benefits you have, right? So if you're just working and getting worn down, I think there's an energy here of maybe Capricorn getting a little tired. If you're working and it's stressing you out, and all you're doing is collecting a paycheck, but you're not, like, you know, taking advantage of your vacation days, if you're not, like, you know, taking a mental health day once in a while, then that job becomes less meaningful in terms of what it can do for you and the ways it can, like, enhance your life. You know, there's a saying that we work to live, not live to work. And it's about Capricorn, I think, working to live, because now we have the star. And what I was just saying before about pursuing your ideals, about your dreams, the things that give you pleasure, the things that make you feel effervescent. You know, a lot of time when I'm shuffling the cards, I've been noticing that either I notice a card and it either comes out or it just, the meaning of the card plays into the reading overall. And this card I was seeing a lot while I was shuffling for you guys. Now, this is ideologies and pursuing ideologies, but the kind that fill your spirit, the kind that make you feel connected to life, right? Where this is the card of Aquarius, the star. And Aquarius, all air signs are pretty connective, right? Aquarius is kind of connective of the whole world. Not just between individuals like maybe Gemini, or social groups like Gemini, or like, you know, Libra, connective between like interpersonal relationships. This is the whole world. Connecting to your greatest philosophies about life, your ideologies, what you believe. I almost want to say, like, what you believe life is about. What you believe the purpose of life is. If you believe, Capricorn, the purpose of life is about love, this is about sort of letting that guide you. If you think the purpose of life is family, the thing that gives it the most meaning, then it's time to pursue that. If you think that what gives life purpose and meaning is your career, that's fine too. But keep in mind that what we're talking about here is pleasure. So it's not about just a career that, like, gives you social standing and makes a lot of money, but the thing that you actually enjoy doing. You don't have to, like, go and have fun every day at work, but what makes you feel fulfilled? What makes you leave the office in at the end of the day, you know, proud to tell people what you do, proud of the work that you do, think that it's making a difference. We have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So on the surface, what I want to say is, again, if you've been in isolation, now is the time to come out of that, right? Nine of Pentacles, when it's upright, is kind of about nurturing our projects, nurturing our material well-being, and nurturing ourselves, right? This is a card very much about individuality, about reaping what we've sown, about standing on your own 2 feet and being confident in yourself. This doesn't have to necessarily be negative, especially because it comes right after the star, right? That you are kind of in isolation maybe. But I think the message here is again, connectivity. Bringing down the walls. You know, this could be like hosting a party at your house. This could be, you know, like I said before, reaching out to family that you haven't seen in a while. There's almost a need of support here, which I'm sure you guys don't really want to hear, but maybe you do. Maybe you do. Maybe as strong as you guys are and as good as you are as carrying your own your own burdens and your own weight and your own responsibilities, maybe you are okay with a little help. Someone else taking the reins for a little while, so that you can enjoy life, so that you can relax. A big period of 10 of Cups, leaning on family. My vibes here very strong, Capricorn, with family. So I think family and also just like intimate relationships is what we're talking about here. Like romantic relationships. There's a sort of love energy that isn't really coming from friends, right? It's mostly families and lovers, let's say. So in the November, there's a reconnection to joy. There's almost a sense of like getting out of your own head and finding pleasure in companionship, finding pleasure in family, finding pleasure in love. Breaking out of this illusion that maybe you've been having, that you're kind of like got to do everything yourself. Maybe if you already feel like you can't do it all yourself, this month is about communicating that. Of being vulnerable with these two cards, right? Speaking about how you feel. About the things that are bothering you, about the things that are burdening you. Because you can't really do it all on your own. No matter how much you might have been trying to convince yourself you can. And there's actually pleasure when you get to that place, right? There's joy to be had. There's the thing that rejuvenates you and refuels you. You know, there's I was reading a book, tarot book about like the suits and stuff recently, and something struck me because I've been like having some difficulties in my love life, and it gets you to the point of almost being jaded and like wanting to say fuck love. Everyone sucks. Who needs love? Let me focus on this, let me focus on that. Right? Then I read something about the Suit of Cups and how in the scheme of things, in the scheme of the tarot, they represent, yes, emotions, intuition, all that stuff, but it's really about the things that give life meaning. The things that give life value. This, in a word, is value. What colors our experiences. And there's a need, Capricorn, to acknowledge that part of you that needs value, that needs fun. This is great. November, guys. Lots of fun times to be had. Makes perfect sense. It's the beginning of the holiday season, right? So, like, Capricorn, have, like, 2 Thanksgivings, right? One with your family and one with your friends. Beautiful time. There's lots of energy here of connection to people in this month. There's lots of energies of joy, of elevation, passions, dreams. We're not disconnecting from the grounded self, but we're using that power of manifestation towards other things. To remind ourselves to play. And I'm not saying you guys are all like hard-nosed, no humor type of people. Like, that's not Capricorn. You guys are actually very passionate. That's why the Devil card represents you for many reasons, right? Passion. But besides passion, I think there's joy. Look at this. 9 of Cups. Three of Cups. 10 of Cups. 7 of Cups in reverse. I'm getting the chills. Getting goosebumps. You know why? Because you think it's a coincidence that I gave you that little speech there on the cups and what they mean and the value they add to your life? If you want to look at this as a predictive thing, right? Instead of me just talking to you about what you need to change for yourself, right? This is telling us, guys, that the month of November is really promising for when it comes to happiness. When it comes to happiness, right? When it comes to fulfillment. This is the card to me of everything we've been talking about, where accomplishments translates into happiness. Achievements become something that is achievements become something that is, your achievements is, there's a subject verb non-agreement there, but I'm just gonna keep going. Now I lost my train of thought. Where your accomplishments are colored with value, with meaning, with soul. There's a lot of soul here, guys. There's a lot of, that's what I was trying to say. I'm not trying to say like Capricorn are cold or anything, because there's not. There's so much soul. You know, everyone always talks about Capricorn as just like rigid and work oriented, but like y'all like to laugh and have fun. Y'all really love your families. And this is that balance between accomplishments and happiness and pleasure. Sometimes this card comes as a warning, right? Like a be careful what you wish for kind of thing. Where, yeah, you're getting things, but is it like what you need or what you want? For you guys, I just feel like this is just pure joy and happiness in what you're accomplishing. And that's great. That's exactly what I want to see. So really rounding out the end of the month, especially, like once Venus goes in, comes out of retrograde and goes direct about mid-month. The rest of the month we have Venus in Libra. Pleasure, connection, beauty, emotion, love, desire, comfort. Big change here, right? Big change from what I see here with this Ace of Swords. Starting us off powerful, yes, but solitary and a little bit alone, to this, where now our emotions are getting fulfilled, and we're wrapping up the month with Justice in reverse. So what can we say about Justice in reverse? Bottom of the deck. It just like never stops, guys. Ace of Cups. Feeling all of this. Your real desire for love, your real desire for emotional meaning, for healing, for connection, right? Because one of the things about this card is that the water is coming out of the cup, but it's also connecting to the water beneath it. It's connectivity. It's emotional connection. It's fulfillment that kind of spills over and creates more emotional satisfaction, more emotional fulfillment. So let's talk more about Justice in reverse, though. I don't think that this is necessarily talking about, you know, my immediate thought was like maybe a little negative, like thinking about it as, I'm sorry, my roommate just got home, so like now I hear him talking and getting very distracted. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. So, back to justice. I think what this actually is sort of a softening in a way, right? Um, there's a harshness sometimes to justice that is just like objective and cold and give and take and get what you receive. But I feel like rounding out the month, Capricorn, there's gonna maybe be a sense here of just being able to accept things that are good and that are coming your way and that are being offered to you without necessarily, having to always feel like you have to earn happiness. Not always feeling you have to earn something like joy. With a lot of people, there's this like misconception in a way that, to feel better, to feel self-esteem, to not feel depressed, to feel connected to people, what you have to do is like, this like affirmations and stuff like that and just make yourself feel better. But the truth is that like you actually have to do work, right? You have to prove yourself. If you want to feel good about yourself, you have to do good in the world. You have to be able to look at your life and say, the work I'm doing is good and I should feel good about it. But now there's almost a sense here of Capricorn of just being able to enjoy. To not always feel compelled to like have to prove that you're worthy of happiness. Right under that we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. And then the Lovers. And then the Four of Cups in reverse. And then the Two of Cups. Knight of Wands, reverse. Like, just easing up on the brakes. Easing up on the gas, right? Relaxing, connecting, harmonizing. Feeling good in yourself. So Capricorn, I think to round it out, it is about saying, like, let these blessings come your way. Accept them. Not just accepting them, but, like, accepting what they bring for you. Accepting the fun, accepting the pleasure, accepting the, like, enjoyment of life. All right, so let's wrap up this reading. We'll pull a rune card to see where we're going from here. Interesting, right? Still ending on a little bit of a dark note. This is the rune Aowas. It represents the yew tree. It's a card kind of death, kind of a card of poisoned, like secret power, is what I want to say. But it's also about like ambition. It's almost has a star-like quality. Where you even see like the archer shooting in the sky, the arrow going up. It's about like our greatest ideals. There's an element here of like, of letting go of what used to be, letting go of a rigid hold on life. Letting go of sort of a way of being, an old identity that might actually be hurting. Letting go of ideas and ways of being that are actually hurting. Attitudes, that are hurting. This is almost asking you, Capricorn, to like stop. Don't like deliberately hurt yourself. Don't deliberately like beat yourself down. Don't hold yourself back from all those things we've been talking about this whole reading. Pleasure, love, joy, happiness, connection, family. Love, love, love. Like, let yourself have the good. There's maybe a time when pain means growth. But now is the time for growth to stem from pleasure and happiness. And to stop struggling and stop trying to survive and thrive more fully and more holistically, if you will. Right? All right, Capricorn. So in the description, you'll find the cards I'm using. link for private readings. I don't have my website up and running yet, so right now I'm still doing it through Etsy. You'll find that link below. Also, I have a link for my PayPal. If you like these readings and they mean something to you, anything that you want to donate to help this channel keep running is greatly appreciated. I also have Instagram. Check me out there. Follow me on Instagram. But Capricorn, you know, there's been a lot of hard times. There's been a lot of darkness for like all of us, and a lot of what's changing this month, especially I think with Jupiter moving into Sag, this abundance that's coming it's just gonna lighten the mood a little bit. It's gonna make you guys feel ready for, you know, another layer of meaning in life, another level of depth that ultimately brings like happiness and fulfillment. And like a great fucking new year, a great Capricorn season, right? Let's let these last 2 months kind of wrap up where we've been this year and like move us into new frontiers and into the greater things where you can have it all, because you're gonna have it all. All right? I love you guys very much. It was a pleasure talking to you tonight, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. You take care.